welcome back to another episode of Riding the Wall podcast. I'm Chad.
And I'm Justin.
And we're going to talk about Martinsville today. I thought we were going to get out of talking about penalties, but surprise, surprise.
Here we are again.
Within the last couple of hours, I've seen that there has been some penalties from Martinsville, so we might talk a little bit about that. And look ahead to Dega. And then our league standings. So, before we get into that, I had already had this plan laid out of what we was going to talk about because, I didn't see this being a really long episode like our past couple, 2 or 3 have been. But so I wanted to just give a big thank you to everyone who's listening. No matter where you're at, who you are, guy, girl, whatever, it don't matter. I just wanted to say thank you for everyone. Me and Justin kind of started this podcast on a whim. Like we said in the very first episode, we're not involved in NASCAR. We're just race fans, friends, and
we love talking about NASCAR. We love
Yes.
talking about racing.
Mhm.
We love telling stories. We love laughing,
Mhm.
and that's what it's all about.
Yes, and I just wanted to take this time to just say thank you to everybody. We've gotten a lot of positive feedback, a lot of good support, and I just wanted to say thank you for that. So, and along with that, we got a website. I never would have thought we'd have had a website, but we've got a website now. You can see our league standings up to date on that, and by God, he's got it figured out to where the standings update like 10 minutes after the checker flag, and
it's pretty nice.
that's awesome. So a big thank you to my son Eric for that again.
Absolutely.
And he's working on, just a heads up for everybody that's in the league, he's working on a spreadsheet so we can kind of keep track of what we've picked in the past, and that way if you've picked somebody twice already, you kind of have that visual there in front of your face to see that, to know what you've got and kind of strategize. So, but that's my big thing. A lot of times, I get caught up in the world and I get caught up in life and everything moves so fast. Sometimes I forget to say thank you. I forget to acknowledge, people that have helped me along the way and whatever it is in life. So I just wanted to make sure that I slowed down for a moment and said thank you to everybody, and this is people around the world. We're seeing people from the other side of the globe that's listening to us.
Singapore, Belgium,
China.
Yeah. I mean,
it's
not to mention, it's like we got a bunch in California. I've noticed.
Yeah.
All
corners of this country.
Right. I mean, Indiana, obviously, few in Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, it's a great honor to be able to do this and just enjoy doing something like this. Me and Chad, I don't know how many times we sat in the same room and had these discussions without microphones, and to see that other people are interested in hearing the same things that we like to talk about. I would love for everybody that downloads these episodes to be sitting in the room with us so we could all talk about it. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, I would love that. We do have a third mic, so at some point there's going to be some other people in here with us.
Meet us at Hooters. We'll just fill up a restaurant and we'll talk and drink and eat some wings.
I'm good with that.
Yeah.
But along those lines, like I said, I want to say thank you. And on the website, you can contact us at ridingthewall@gmail.com. It's got a link there on the website. Just get a hold of us. Let us know what you like here and what you don't like here and things that we can do to improve. Just give us some ideas of what you might want to hear. We're all about improving, doing things a little differently from time to time to see if that it works. Or it might not. I'm the kind of person that says, hey, let's give it a shot. Worst that can happen is that it don't work, right?
Yep.
But you don't know until you try. So, but that's my sappy few minutes there to start off with. Is a big thank you. We had a race at Martinsville.
Yeah, we did.
This past Sunday. I thought we were going to have a little bit more drama than what we had, but we did not. Short track is usually going to create some drama, beating and banging on each other. Didn't have a whole lot of
It
that.
had a little bit. Kyle Busch and who was that? Kyle.
Oh, Corey LaJoy.
Yeah, Corey LaJoy.
Corey LaJoy, friend of the show. He's always in there in the middle of all of it. I wouldn't have thought he'd be picking on Kyle Busch,
no,
but
I mean, but yeah, him and Kyle, they had a little spat there for a minute. That was pretty entertaining.
yeah, it's pretty entertaining. It didn't.
But you don't, neither one of the guys were wrong.
Right.
That's how I feel about it. They were doing what racers do.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think there's going to be any held over feelings from it.
Nah.
But they were. It was one of them things of. It happened. We beat each other up a little bit. We left it right here in Martinsville.
Left it on the track.
We probably won't talk about it till we get back to Martinsville.
Right.
And that's how it should be. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you leave it on the track. I mean, the worst thing happens, you go talk about it after the race, have a beer, and
Yep.
each side kind of says what they were thinking and what they were doing, and then that'd be the end of it. And that's kind of how it should be, like
Absolutely.
you said. If they were all like that, I think it would be great. I think the most impressive thing that I saw was actually after the race when Kyle Larson did a burnout all the way around the track. That was pretty cool.
I know, in a Chevy. I mean, that was insane. I mean, it's like, what did they do? Spread some oil on the track? No, I'm just kidding.
He did a burnout. The Polish victory lap backwards around the track.
Yeah.
He did a burnout all the way around the track. You don't see that very often, but
Hat tip to Alan Kawicki.
That's right.
Yep.
Alan Kawicki, one of the greats. But you don't see that very often. But it gave us an opportunity for him to do something like that, which is pretty cool. I like that. That was, like I said, that was the most impressive thing that I seen.
Ryan Preece was pretty impressive.
Stewart-Haas altogether was pretty
Yeah,
impressive.
was.
I mean, I thought for sure that they were going to win that race. I mean, at one point you had all four cars in the top 10.
Top seven at one point.
Yeah. And most of the time, 3 of them were in the top 4.
Yep.
So I thought for sure Stewart-Haas was going to finally get a win.
Priest probably. I don't know if he would have won or not, but he had a dang good chance at winning if he wouldn't have had that pit penalty.
Yeah.
I mean, it happens, but them rookies gotta be aware. It can bite you. The excitement get to you.
Yeah, and that was the first time that he had been running up front in the Cup Series, and then you get the pit stops, and he wants to keep that up front, and it's just where he hasn't done it so much. He just got, I wouldn't call it a little premature acceleration, but nobody. It does happen to the best of us. Sure, that's true. But he got a little excited, got a little bit fast coming out of the pits. They're racing a couple of other guys coming out of the pits and got him a pit road speeding penalty. And that pretty much ruined his day. There was no recovering for him after that. Harvick won the second. Oh, Preece won the first stage. Harvick won the second stage, another Stewart-Haas guy. Looked strong. And then we get the third stage, and it seemed like the wheels kind of fell off of it for Stewart-Haas.
Yeah.
But,
I'll tell you what. The Stewart-Haas team had a great weekend, really. I mean, they showed how strong they could be at Martinsville. Mm-hmm. But what about their daddy? Did you see that?
I've seen that. He won an NHRA event there.
Tony got his first national NHRA win.
Yeah.
Got his first Wally.
Yeah, running 4 wide. I thought that's the first time I'd ever seen that. Yeah. I thought that was pretty cool.
Congratulations, Smoke. Yeah. You deserve it.
Big congrats to the hometown guy.
Yeah.
Tony. Putting another trophy on the shelf. And that's just kind of a testament to what he can do, what he's capable of, and the talent that he has. I mean, everything that he's sat in with wheels, he can win. Whether it be go-karts at a young age or sprint cars, these World of Outlaws, this Indy cars, I mean, NASCAR, now drag racing, he's winning at every level. So that just kind of tells the talent that some of these guys have, especially him.
I mean, and as a younger person, Kyle Larson, who won at Martinsville, he's like that. Mm-hmm. You can put him on a lawnmower.
Oh, yeah.
And he can drive it. I mean, it don't matter. If it's got a steering wheel and it's got wheels, he's going to drive it. And Smoke's like that, too. Mm-hmm. We all know that.
And speaking of Larson, we're going to go watch him race here in a couple of hours. He's supposed to be at Brownstown tonight. seen some clips on YouTube of him at Eldora last night. Didn't do so good. He raced. He's with the World of Outlaw guys. He raced. I think he finished like 8th. He wasn't really up front most of the time, but not that I've seen anyway. But maybe tonight's a different story. We'll be up there to see him run that. Probably going into pits to get an up close view on that car, as close as they'll let us get.
Yeah, maybe talk to him a little bit.
Yeah, we might talk to him a little bit.
If the Worcester Warrior shows up over there, he might get a little one-on-one with Kyle Larson.
He might.
See who can go around that track faster.
Well, Larson might be in trouble.
I know it.
You don't mess with the Worcester Warrior.
Absolutely not.
But Martinsville, one of the things that I saw that it didn't surprise me, but it kind of did, was Hamlin and Bubba. There was a section of the race there where them two were.
Bubba was bumping on him, bumping the boss.
He was straight up hitting him.
Yeah.
I mean, he was ramming him, and I know there's a lot of that. That's every car going into the turns at Martinsville. You're going to be bumping the guy in front of you. But this, I mean, he was using Hamlin for the brake. He wasn't even slowing down. It didn't look like. And I thought, are they? I didn't see them before this. Were they used to hitting each other that hard? I know some of these other guys were not.
Well, I mean, I feel like if it would have been anybody but Bubba, and Hamlin may have pulled him aside after the race out of the media, and said, hey, whatever that was out there, better not ever happen again.
Right. You almost spun me.
Right. You don't forget whose car you're driving.
That's right.
You
can be replaced like you want to be.
Yeah. This ain't the time. This ain't the car and the time to make a point.
Yeah, because Hamlin usually does really good at Martinsville.
Yeah.
And
he goes back. He'll get back at you. And we all know that from the Ross Chastain squabble over the last year.
Mm-hmm.
If that probably would have turned into a lot more of something if it had been Ross Chastain hitting Hamlin like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it would have. But I thought, and nothing came of it that we know of. But I just thought that was a little bit different for not necessarily teammates, because they're not really teammates, but boss and car and driver. You don't see that a whole lot. Yeah, you don't really see that a whole lot. And he was hitting him pretty hard, considering who it was that he was bumping into the back of. But all in all, it was a good race. It was a typical Martinsville race. It was pretty good. I mean, I have no complaints. We're not talking about drama on the track.
Or green-white checkers.
Or green-white checkers, because I thought for sure we was going to have maybe 2 or 3 of them. Cause,
it's Martinsville.
Yeah, and Larson got out to, like a 4-second lead there at the end. So I thought for sure we're going to have one of them magical green-white checkers.
Yeah. And a hot dog wrapper on the track.
Yeah. But congrats to Larson. It's not one of his good tracks. He's open about that. He'll tell you, I suck at Martinsville. So for him to get the win.
Well, that's not always the fastest car that wins either, and we've talked about that. It's about placing yourself in the right position at the end of the race, and having a good team around you, and being somewhat fast.
Yeah. And Martinsville is one of them tricky tracks, because Larson is the kind of racer, he don't like to use that brake. He's going to use the throttle to get that car around a track. And so Martinsville, the type of track that is, you have to use a lot of brake, and that's just not up his alley. So I think, and it's just my opinion, but I think that has something to do with why that's probably not one of his better tracks. He's got to use the pedal on the left just as much as the pedal on the right. He's not really that kind of racer. So, but Martinsville, like I said, we don't really have a whole lot to talk about Martinsville, just because it's
in the books.
It's in the books. It was a good race.
No
everybody kind of minded their P's and Q's. Yeah, no bullshit happened. So,
yeah, we got Dega Day coming up.
We have Dega Day coming up.
Sunday.
What do you think about that?
I mean, that's a national holiday right there.
It should be, yeah.
I mean, you know what day Dega Day's on.
Mm-hmm.
So, I love Dega Day. I mean, I wake up that morning, I'm not even joking, Chad knows, but anybody else that's listening, I wake up that day at like 8 o'clock in the morning, and I just feel great every year. Every year I wake up early that morning on a Sunday and I feel fantastic. It don't matter what I did the day before.
Start the
I,
day like a champion. Put
oh
some
yeah,
beer in your
I've already,
cereal.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's you know, I wake up, look out there and see the grill. Got the cooler out there. You know,
Hmm.
it's a beautiful day, and I know what's coming. You know,
Yeah.
so
Dega Day's always a beautiful day.
oh yeah, and this year it's on my birthday. You know, so it's
Hey, there
even
you go.
better.
There
You
you
know,
go.
my plans were just to hop a plane and fly down to Alabama, and Uber from the airport to the track, Uber home.
You never know what's going to happen. I mean, you're getting ready. We're getting ready to talk to Larson. He
Right.
might just have us on the,
You might.
down there on the pit box with him. So you
Yeah.
never know. Um, you think we're going to see the big one?
Oh yeah.
You think
Yeah,
so?
we'll see the big one. But I mean, you know, it's always exciting.
Hmm.
But I more so than the big one. I love seeing these guys, and I'm not excited about the big one, you know, but I love to see three wide, 33-degree bank, bumper to bumper,
Wide
two
open.
hundred 210 miles an hour. You know, just seeing how in sync these 37 or 38 drivers are out there with no mirrors out and outside, no tail lights. You know, like people don't understand. When
Hmm.
I mean, think about that. When we're on the interstate and we're doing 70 miles an hour, imagine getting on somebody's bumper 2 inches away from their bumper at 70 miles an hour. People freak out. You
Oh
know,
yeah.
these guys are going 200, 200 plus,
Yep.
and they're three wide and 15 long. You know, I
Hmm.
mean, it's just somebody makes
Somebody sneezes and it's over.
right, right.
Yeah.
And, I mean, just the talent that takes,
Hmm. And trust in the guys around you.
man.
That takes a lot.
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially if you're right next to the guy that you were wanting to punch in the face last week, and you still have to have that trust in that guy to not screw this up.
Yeah.
It's amazing to see.
I mean, it's not. I mean, it's amazing to see, but just like you was touching on the trust that you got to have in everybody around you. I mean, hell, not even around you. You could be in the 12th row, three wide, and if you don't have no trust in that guy in second place, you're
Yeah.
done.
Yeah.
You know,
That guy way up there that might have
right?
nothing
You
to do
can't
with
even
you.
see his car.
He might mess it up for you.
Yeah, he could injure you, kill
Hmm.
you, ruin your day. You know, I mean, it could happen.
Yeah.
And it's just that's what I love about it is watching them cars go around there like that at those speeds. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Love it.
What? So who do you think has a good shot of winning this race? Let's throw because this is Talladega. And I've tried to explain to people in the past that Talladega and Daytona. I mean, you might as well put names on a dartboard and just throw a dart at it because that's who might win the race.
Yeah,
They're
it's whoever makes it through the one or two big ones.
right. If you can, you got to have a lot of luck.
I mean, I've seen 8 cars finish that race before.
Right.
You know,
There's a lot of luck involved. There's a lot of, you know, trust in a teammate that might be pushing you or you're pushing him. Um, so there's a lot of things involved that.
a lot of communication
Yes.
between the manufacturers and the drivers. You know, I
Hmm.
mean, you know, Ryan Blaney might not be able to stand Brad Keselowski. I don't know. I'm just saying this as an example. I'm not saying these guys don't get along,
Hmm.
but he might not be able to stand him. But when the race is on the line and Brad's pushing Ryan, he's got to be okay with him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You don't pick your friends on
No.
this day.
Sometimes
Ford,
200 miles an hour just picks it for you.
Right, and Ford, Chevy, and Toyota is what picks your friends on
Hmm.
Dega Day. So, I mean, because you're looking at these guys, you know they're going to pit together. All the Fords are going to come in together. All the Chevys are going to pit together, and same with the Toyotas.
Hmm.
So, I mean, you've got to have a lot of faith and trust and carrying on with your manufacturer teammates, whether you like them or not.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's throw a handful of guys out here. Who would be, let's say 5? Who do you think would be the top 5 people that could win this race?
Well, Brad Keselowski, no doubt. I mean, out of the current drivers out there right now, Brad Keselowski's the Talladega man. He is. He's got 6 wins there. He seems to always finish up front if he don't get the misfortune to get caught up in the big one.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Brad Keselowski, Ryan Blaney, Joey Logano, those 3 right there are definites to me as far as coming down to who's the best at Talladega.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd have to throw. I don't know. I'd have to think about them other 2. But
I'm those 3 that you mentioned are also in my list. I would also have to put Austin Dillon in there. He's fairly good at super speedways. Now, I mean, he's not at the level of those 3 that you mentioned, I don't think, but
he seems to do really well at Daytona.
yes,
to me.
Yeah. And I've picked him to win at Daytona a couple times, and he's came through. He didn't win, but he finished up there for me. But you got Kyle Busch. He's a threat at any track, and he was right there
So
at
is
Daytona.
Larson.
Yeah, and Busch was right there at Daytona. He probably should have won the 500, but you got to think almost anybody in a Ford, because Ford has seemed to have dominated these super speedways over the past few years. They don't always get the win, but they have the dominant cars throughout the race. So, and when it comes to these super speedways, the guy in the lead, when you take the white flag, usually don't win.
And I'll be honest with you, one of the guys I'm thinking may finish up there in the top 5, David Gilliland, number 38.
Mm-hmm.
He seems to do really good at that track. I know he's not on one of the big teams, don't have a big merch hauler, nothing like that, but watch out for him.
Yeah. I think, and I know HR is going to give me a hard time about this, but I think keep an eye out on Corey LaJoie again. Good friend of the show. I really have. I've got faith that he's going to finish up there. But Corey is also one of those guys that he could start the big one. He's not afraid to bounce off of anything, whether it be the wall or another car.
Well,
so, but he does really good on his
right,
super speedways.
Right, and talking about the 5 at Talladega, I said Brad, Ryan Blaney, Joey Logano, David Gilliland, number 38. My number 5 will be Hendricks Motorsports. Because, and I'm not saying not a single one of them 4 cars, but when them 4 cars get bumper to bumper, when they can get it figured out, when they get nose to tail, it's hard to stop them 4.
Oh yeah.
Those 4 are tough, and if they can get them Chevys lined up together, it's gonna be hard for anybody to catch them 4.
Yeah, I agree. If they can put it together, and they can hook up to each other, not let anybody break that,
they're gone.
They could be gone.
Yeah.
That
until Stuart Haas pulls up.
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, and this year has really been a Hendricks year. So I mean, you got Byron has 2 wins. Larson now has 2 wins. I'm sure Chase Elliott would have a win had he been racing this whole year.
He's
so
been
far.
healthy. Yep.
But yeah, I agree. Watch out for Hendricks.
You just can't count them out at any track. And Chase won there last year. You know what
True.
I mean? So I've seen how fast them 4 cars are on a super speedway, and when they get out there.
Yeah, if they can put that.
And I'm saying that I don't mean any 4 Chevys on that track. I mean those 4.
Yeah.
When those 4 Hendrick boys get lined up, they're dangerous.
Yeah, I would have to agree with that. Be tough to stop them.
Until Briscoe and Almirola and Harvick and Priest get up there, then they. Then
True.
then we're gonna have a race. But the same with um, Blaney and Logano. I mean,
Yeah, I was gonna say Penske might
and,
have something to say with
and
that.
Roush Fenway,
Mm-hmm.
Keselowski teams with Penske. You know what I'm saying? I mean, they're Ford manufacturers, obviously, but
they'll team up to get to the front.
And that's a very having Blaney and Keselowski nose to tail is a very dangerous duo.
And Logano,
right?
I mean that's because they don't have a problem moving you out of the way to get to the front.
And they usually don't have to. They're so fast, them three, when they get nose to tail.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't have to move you. They're so fast they'll pass you high or low.
Mm-hmm. That would be an interesting little race if we see Hendricks out front on the inside and some Stewart Haas or something like that on the outside, just to see who breaks first. But that would be interesting. You think so?
Oh yeah.
I think I know who you're gonna say.
Well, I think Smoke might be taking a few of them to the woodshed if they break first. So I don't.
Yeah,
think
you don't want that. You don't want that.
I don't think you're gonna have to worry about them boys. But it's you got Chase Briscoe still racing with a broken pinky.
I was gonna say let's give a shout out to Briscoe. I mean he's had a broken finger for 2 weeks and he's finished 5th in both races.
Iron Man.
That's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, if he starts to fall off, I'm gonna break his other fingers. You know what I'm saying?
It. You're not doing too good. Let's break a finger.
So, and Chase out there, we all know he's healing up from, his accident and everything. And I mean, Martinsville, that's a hell of a race to come back on. I mean, to be,
especially with a bad left leg.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, props to Chase on that.
Yeah, he's showing his toughness right there. I had something we can talk about here, which has to do with penalties again, unfortunately. I seen something, like I said, just a couple of hours ago. I seen that Austin Dillon has gotten a penalty from Martinsville. And I'm going to read it to you here from the NASCAR.com. It says, NASCAR penalized the number 3 Cup Series team of Austin Dillon for an L1 level infraction after last weekend's race at Martinsville. The team violated the overall assembled vehicle rules related to the underwing assembly and hardware. As a result, crew chief Keith Rodden would be fined $75,000 and suspended for the next 2 points events. The team and driver also lost 60 points and 5 playoff points. So, I thought for sure we wasn't going to be having to talk about penalties again. And along that lines, Colleague had their final appeal over the hood louvers again from Phoenix, which seemed like forever ago. Yeah. But I will say I like the way NASCAR handled that one, because NASCAR stepped in and said, here's what I would like to see the appeals board do. Give them back all their points, keep the $100,000 fine and the 4-week suspension of the crew chief. That way they get the same thing that Hendrick got.
Yeah.
That way it's keeping it fair. So I think, got to give props to NASCAR for stepping in and doing that, even though I'm sure they didn't want to. But
well, I mean, I think that's what they wanted out of an appeals board, was to keep things fair, whether it was good for them or not.
Yeah.
At least be fair. You know what I'm saying? And that's how you have to be, for transparency.
Right, for the transparency, and that way the teams know that you're... Because if the teams don't have any faith in you, then where are you at?
Right.
Really.
The penalties might be harsh at times. They might be no big deal at times, but at least they're going to be fair across the board.
Right. And for the governing body to step in and say, this is... in the spirit of fairness, this is what needs to happen, whether they wanted to do that or not. That's I think that's very big of them. It's very telling that they are trying to have the transparency and keep the faith of the teams.
Well, and I think they hear the fans. You know.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm sure NASCAR's listening to this right now.
I mean, when Brian called you last week, I mean, this is exactly what you said to him.
Yeah.
You know, Mr. France called.
Mm-hmm. We need to keep it fair down the line.
Right.
I mean,
exactly. You heard us on the podcast, Brian.
Right.
Come on.
And we're going to talk about it next week, so
keep it straight so we don't have talk.
Exactly. So we like to talk good about NASCAR. We don't want to say what they're doing wrong. We want to say what they're getting right.
We love NASCAR.
We do. And they got this one right. So
pat on the back, NASCAR.
Mm-hmm.
Good job. Keep
Good
it
job
up.
to them. Hopefully they can keep that going. I don't know exactly, like I said, I'm just seeing this for Austin Dillon, so I don't know exactly what he did or what the team did. It wasn't Austin, it was the team, but as far as the underwing assembly.
Yeah, I wonder if that'd be the hardware under the body, since they mentioned hardware in there, maybe, what holds the wing in place. I mean, it could be something like that that's not even outside of the car. I mean, are they going that far in depth on these?
I'm sure they are. But that brings me to my question that I want to talk about for a little bit. NASCAR has said when they brought this car out at the start of last year, do not touch the car. You will get penalized heavily if you touch this car in any way, alter the parts that we're giving you, right? Don't do it. But yet we're still seeing, and we didn't see that much of it last year. I mean, what we see, Denny Hamlin and Kyle Busch got penalized for a piece of tape or something like that underneath the wrap at Pocono.
Yeah, let's not talk about that.
But
we're still sore.
Yeah, but we're still seeing it. It's like every week we're seeing these teams get penalized, or it seems like every week we're getting penalized for something that they keep touching the car. So where does or where should NASCAR draw the line? How steep do these penalties need to be to get these teams to understand, oh shit, I better not touch this car. Better not do that. What does the penalty need to be?
Well, I think we'll find out. But on that same
How long is it gonna take?
On that same note, what has racing always been? It's about finding the little thing to do to get the advantage. I'm not saying cheating by any means. I'm not for cheating. I'm not for
it's
any
like
of
the
that.
old saying: if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying.
Right. But it's one of the things about finding that little edge over everybody else. Mm-hmm. What can we get away with? I mean, these NASCAR teams are like our kids.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They're gonna push us. They're gonna try us,
mm-hmm.
and they're gonna see what they can get away with.
Yeah.
Until we jerk them into the room and beat their ass.
Mm-hmm.
And don't carry that too far. Everybody in the media out there that I don't beat my kids, I love them. But you know what I'm saying.
Right.
It's about finding those little tiny advantages.
And that's the beauty of our sport, and it always has been.
Right. And you got to try, but not. I don't know where you go.
Well,
any further.
I'm thinking it depends on how serious NASCAR wants to be. All right. Now that we got the guard dog settled down a little bit, for me, it's how far does NASCAR want to take these penalties? How serious do you want to get with enforcing this don't touch the car? Because in my mind, and like I said, it's always been, this sport has always been about finding that little bit, whether that's in the engine, whether that's in the handling, whether that's in anything, spoiler, whatever, the aerodynamics of this car. But now, and because we've never had a car like this, you bring your car, they check it out. If they say it's good, it's good. Hey, you might have gotten away with 10 different things on this car that they didn't catch, but you're running a car that you built. You've got all these little secrets in this car, and they don't know about it. And every team has that. Well, now, basically, the car is given to the teams. Slap your motor in it, slap your suspension parts in it, and bring it to the race. Don't touch it, though. Don't alter it in any way. So it's kind of like a learning curve now. Now all of a sudden you've allowed. It's kind of like the teacher in the school. you've allowed these kids to get away with so much stuff, and now all of a sudden you're going to really start coming down hard
Policing
with
it.
you're going to start policing it really hard. So now the kids are a little bit they're a little confused. This is how we've always done things,
Right,
and
but
now it's different.
right. But I'm glad at least that if they now that they've started something like this, they started it with a new gen car.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They didn't do it in the middle of a phase
Right.
with a certain gen car. You know, they started at the beginning, said, but I'm sure these team owners, these crew chiefs, these drivers, they all knew about it long before everybody else did. That hey, when this next gen car comes out, zero bullshit.
Yeah.
It ain't happening.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so do what you want to do, but we're not allowing it's zero tolerance.
Yes.
You know, and I think that's good. I mean, they can't go back in time and change things. You know,
Yeah,
but
they can't go back in time, and the reason for this car is to make a level playing field for everyone. You know,
make it
that way the colleagues of the world or
Woods Brothers.
the Woods brothers can keep up with the Hendricks and the Penske's.
Right. It's a lot about the driver.
Yeah, and at this level, you're not going to get a lot of differences in those drivers. You know, obviously, it's going to be experience is going to show up. You know, a wise man once said, "The cream's always going to rise to the top."
Oh yeah.
And I'm a firm believer of that, and we're going to see that. But it's just a way for the teams to be able, the smaller teams that can't afford these $500,000 engines or whatever these engines cost. They can't afford these things, so they're putting out the best product that they can, while these other teams like a Hendricks or a Penske or a Roush at the time could just put in a $500,000 engine and just outrun these guys. So we're bringing the playing field up to level for everyone, but now it's don't touch it. Well, they're going to touch it because that's what they do. You know, they're going to tweak this or they're going to turn that a little bit, and they're going to try to find that little bit of advantage. And
they've got to.
And they have to, yes, because if these cars are so even, you got to find that little bit of something somewhere.
But to me, these penalties and these fines are going to make them better at it. You know what I'm saying? Better at getting away with it. Because
Right.
I mean, if it's going to cost me $100,000 every time I get my hand slapped, boys, you better hide that shit. You know what I'm saying?
Right? You better hide it really good.
Exactly. And I don't want to see these guys detour away from
The creativeness.
the creativeness. Yeah, it's perfect.
Yeah.
You know, but if NASCAR's gonna fine them for it, then that's the chance they take.
Yeah.
You know, but you also have, I say with demolition derbies. I've been to a million of the demo derbies, and I know how a lot of them guys operate. I mean, when they pull up for pre-race inspection,
Mm-hmm.
they start nailing them on all this little stuff right there at the inspection booth, and these guys make the misdemeanors obvious so they get away with the felonies. You know
Right.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You pointed out 8 things on my car, but they're all little shit. It's all stuff I can cut off and
Yeah,
stuff
I'll go
that.
fix that here in
Right,
about 10
yeah,
minutes.
no problem, but
Yeah.
I got you. But you didn't realize what, the big the felony I got hit under there, you know what I mean?
Right, they stop looking after a while.
We've been hard enough on him,
Yeah, that's true. But
So-
what do you think is the answer to that as far as stopping these teams from?
You won't stop them. If they're good teams, you won't stop them. They've got to be able to. They've got to be able to try to get that edge.
But
I think
NASCAR's saying don't touch it. So how do you get that edge?
keep trying. I mean, they're going to find something.
Yes, if you're looking at it,
something.
if you're looking at it, and this is my opinion, if you're looking at it from the racer's standpoint and the team standpoint, they're going to continue to try.
I mean, how did they get away with a piece of tape under the wrap? You know what I'm saying?
It was
wasn't even
inspected 3
intentional,
times.
right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, how far are these guys going to go? You got some brilliant minds in them garages.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
They get paid really well to try
Right.
and bend the rules.
Right. And they're going to find a way
Mm-hmm.
eventually. I mean, it might be on the way out for the gen car, but they'll find a way.
Yeah. I think if you're looking at it from the NASCAR side, and it's like you said, from the team side, you're going to keep continuing to try. I mean, I think $100,000 fine here and there is not going to deter these teams. A crew chief suspension is obviously no big deal, as we've seen with Larson and Byron so far this year. I mean, they suspended their crew chiefs and they just kept on winning. So that's not a big deal. Now the driver points, owner points, that's going to hurt.
Yeah.
But they can still overcome that. I think if you're NASCAR, the only way you're going to get these teams to absolutely stop doing it, is if you,
when I say suspensions, I mean they're going to have to go a step further. They're going to have to park a car.
That's what I'm getting at. They're going to have to take away your chances at running for a championship.
Yeah, they're going to have to park a car, and I don't mean suspend the driver, suspend the crew chief, let me pull, whoever up from the Xfinity Series to run my car this weekend because my driver's suspended. Park the car.
Yeah.
The car's staying on the truck this week, boys.
Mm-hmm. If the car's not running, you're not going to make any money on that car.
We'll take your entry fee. We got it.
Yeah. That's kind of it. That's, in my mind, that's what has to happen for NASCAR to get through to these teams. Don't touch it. Now, I've raced before, and I've followed this sport for pretty much all my life. I'm on the side of the teams where you're always going to be looking for that creative advantage. You're going to be looking for that gray area of the rules. But if you're running for this sanctioning body that says we provided you the car and you're under strict orders, don't touch these parts of the car. There's still so much that you can touch.
Right.
There's so much stuff that you can alter. But when it comes to the car, this amount of it you cannot touch, and these teams are still doing it. That's when you have to say, okay, park it.
You're staying in.
We're going to prove the point. It becomes a pissing contest.
Well, I think, but they don't have to stop trying to find them tiny advantages either.
No.
I think they need to, as we just said, there's some brilliant minds in them garages. I think what they need to do is say, hey, guys, I want my team to come to me and say, hey, we've got this idea. I think if we can do this and we can get away with it, we can start winning some races. And I'm going to say, all right, well, you got it. Lay it out. Now, you're going to have to sell me on this over the next 2 or 3 weeks. You know what I'm saying? Or however long it takes you to convince me that it's going to make my car better and we're not going to get busted.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We'll work on it over the next month in the garage and in the meetings, and we'll discuss it. We'll brainstorm, get this stuff right. I'm not going to try it week 1, get busted. Week 2, get busted again. Week 3, get busted again. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to say figure it out, and then we'll try it. But it better be at the point to where we can't get it any better when I put it on the car.
Yeah.
Period.
I agree with that.
Put the time in, put the work in. Let's get it on the car,
Let's see what happens.
Right.
And yeah, and that's always going to be there, and I hope it is, because
that's part of the sport.
That's part of the sport. But at the same time, and like I said, you have to look at it from a team's perspective, and then you also have to look at it from NASCAR's perspective. The teams are always going to keep trying this. So do we want to talk about penalties and fines and suspensions every week? Well, at the rate we're going, we're going to be. Because they've set such a strict standard on this car that the teams are going to keep doing it. You have to.
Yep.
You have to. But at the same time, NASCAR, I'm sure they're getting tired of penalizing these teams. I mean, maybe.
Nobody likes
they're
being
getting
the
some
bad
money.
guy.
They're getting money out of it every time.
Right, but nobody likes being the bad guy.
Right. NASCAR's trying to do the right thing, and this is what the fans want. But yet these teams just continue to bend. They're trying to bend the rules without breaking the rules, and I get that. And you're gonna have it. And I hope they keep doing it. But at the same time, if NASCAR is really that serious about it, you're gonna have to park a car. You park one, I guarantee you, the rest of that garage is gonna take note.
Yeah. And I'm one of them that I'm in line with. Hey, you've been fined 3 times this year. One was for causing a wreck. One was for illegal use of a hood louver. One was for you know
Anything, you name it.
anything.
Yeah.
3 penalties, whether monetary points, whatever. You're parked.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and that could be the thing too that they
You
need
know,
to go
just
to.
like
Third strike, you're out.
just like school. You get kicked out of school 3 times, you're expelled for 10 days.
Yeah.
I mean,
Or maybe,
supposedly.
maybe. And here's what I think. Maybe, because these cars get inspected 2 or 3 times before they ever hit the track, right? So you see that they've got something going on there that's wrong. Let them race the car. They think they're getting away with something. Then right after that green flag gets dropped, you got the Japanese inspection. And I don't know if you've ever seen Days of Thunder, but Japanese inspection. Pull that car in, tear it down. Then after a couple hundred laps, you put it back together. If they can get it back together, they can get back on that track. But you're also letting them know that, hey, we've seen it. We're not going to let you race today.
Yep.
But
it just cost you a lot of money.
It just cost you a lot of money. You showed up for the fans. They got to see that driver out there for about 3 laps, and then NASCAR is going to prove their point. But I'm more in favor of just parking the car for a week, depending on how severe the penalty is or what they've tried to alter. But and for me, they say it's for keeping the cost down, but I don't know. I had a thought there, and it's for another show.
Predict it. We can't predict it, but I think we'll have a lot more answers by the end of this season.
Yeah.
Because I'm proud and I'm happy to see NASCAR doing what they're doing.
Yeah.
But on the same note, I'm happy and proud to see what the teams are doing in response to that.
Right.
To me, I'm loving it. Mm-hmm. So just keep doing what you're doing, NASCAR.
Yeah.
We'll see how it turns out.
And with the colleague thing, it really made me happy to see that NASCAR is stepping in to say, hey, we're going to keep this fair for everybody. So I like
it. Don't matter if you're a 1-driver team or a 4-driver team, or if you're $1 million team or a $1 billion team.
You're scrapping pennies.
You know what I mean? It's good. It's all good. So,
yeah.
But yeah, coming up we got Talladega. It's always exciting. I think it's fun to talk about. It's even more fun to watch. But you can't predict what this race is going to be. You can't predict who's going to win. You can't predict who's going to be in the top 10.
Nope. So it's like I tell new people, they're like, "Who do you think's going to win?" And we're at Daytona or Talladega. I'm like, it's just you flip a coin.
Yeah, whoever makes it to the end.
Just pick somebody and hope for the best is really all you can do.
Yeah.
But hopefully we have a good race. I wouldn't mind seeing the big one. I would just hope my driver isn't in it.
Right. But we all know we're going to.
Yeah.
It just takes a 5-mile-an-hour breeze to come through there when them guys are on that bank. This is 2.66 miles of busting ass. You know what I'm saying? It's
chaos everywhere. Yeah. Controlled chaos for the most part.
Yeah.
And all it takes is one little bit. It's uncontrolled.
Couldn't jackhammer a needle up my ass going around that track.
I guarantee it.
It just wouldn't work. But props to them guys out there doing it. I know they're badasses and like to be known as badasses, but it don't matter who you are. When you're in that seat, it's got to be nervous. It's
got to be nerve-wracking, intimidating,
stressful. These guys got families the same as we do. And, just the slip of a hand.
Yeah.
You gone.
This is how you make your living at 200 miles an hour, 2 inches apart, 2 inches all around your car, and things could get hairy real quick.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I agree. Props to the guys out there doing it. They're amazing. They're gonna put on a good show. That's a guarantee.
Yep.
So and we'll see what happens, and we'll be back next week to talk about Talladega and what happened.
And I'm sure we'll have a lot to talk about.
Oh, I'm sure we will. It's Dega. So.
Yeah.
So we're gonna get into our league standings now, and we're recording this on Wednesday afternoon, 6:00. so there's still time to get your picks in. So I'm locked in. I've already picked my driver. I'm not changing it. I know you've picked your driver.
Yes,
You're
sir.
not changing it. And I went with Brad Keselowski. I don't think I used him at all last year, just because moving over to this new team with the RFK, and they got off to a rough start last year.
Yeah, they did.
You know, they started messing with the car. NASCAR slapped their hand. They never really could recover from that. I think they're on the better side of things now. They're putting their best foot forward, basically.
Well,
and they're doing
Brad and Busher together. You know, whatever Keselowski took to Roush, which was his experience
good.
and a lot of knowledge. You know, Brad's a very intelligent person. Whatever he took over there was very valuable because they've came a long way from the year before Brad joined the team to where they are now.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, it almost seemed like Roush was going away. You know what I mean? In all honesty.
Yeah.
I almost felt like that. I hate to see a team with that much history in the sport fade away, but it almost seemed like they were.
Yeah.
And you know they brought Keselowski into the picture, and yeah, that just like you said, that first year was a little rough for him, but here we are at year 2, and Busher and Brad are both killing it.
Yeah,
I mean
they're
they're
doing
very
good.
impressive.
They haven't. Well, Busher won the one race. Where was it that he won at?
Bristol.
Yeah, he won Bristol last year. Yeah, the fall race. So yeah, he's doing pretty good. And Brad hasn't won one yet, but he's knocking on the door. He's been right there a few times,
Very impressive.
and I think it's just a matter of time before he gets that win. But once he does, watch out,
Yeah.
because he's not just gonna open the door. He's gonna kick that sumbitch in and just keep on rolling. So I picked him this week. Hopefully he can dodge that big one, and maybe get a good finish out of that.
I took Blaney, another Ford. You know, I got to roll with my Ford boys. I mean, if you go with Ford at any track.
Well, that's a little much for me. I wouldn't say that, but I understand where you will.
One thing that I like about Talladega, and I've never heard anybody say it, and I mean, I've never heard a team, I've never heard a team owner, I've never heard a driver, never heard anybody say it, even a fan, is I think there's strategy into qualifying at Talladega.
Okay, I'm listening.
I feel like I see this as many years as I've been watching Talladega, or I mean NASCAR in general, but you keep an eye on Talladega. I mean, it's one of my top 3 favorite races, top 2. But I mean, I've seen some of these guys that I know run up front of Talladega every year. I mean, 10 laps in, they go from 24th to 2nd. Some of them go from 12th to 30th. You know what I'm saying? But I think just a lot of the things I picked up on it, I can't really explain it, but I feel like there is strategy in the way these teams qualify. I mean, do you want to qualify up front? Yeah, of course you do. You want to be number 1.
Right.
But I don't really want to be number 4 through 15. You know what I'm saying? Because that's a lot of times that's where the big one generates from. You know, do I want to qualify at the end? Do I want to be back here in 35th because I'll have time to dodge the big one?
Well, yeah, and I was going to ask you that. When it comes to strategy at Talladega or even Daytona, do you want to ride in the back or do you want to ride in the front?
But I'm specifically talking about qualification.
Right, I get what you're talking about.
You'll see Denny Hamlin and them boys at Daytona and Talladega go straight to the back. You'll see them drop off back there.
What would you do if you're in that car?
If I'm not in first or second, I'm gonna cruise. I'm gonna ride back there. I'm gonna sit back there in 30th, 38th, somewhere back there. You know what I mean? I don't want to be back there so far I lose the pack.
Right.
But I'm gonna give myself enough time to let my spotter say go high or go low. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I like to think that that's what I would do, right in the back. I
Right.
don't know if, me personally, I don't know if I'd have the patience for
I
that in
mean,
the car.
are we on lap
Right? Are we
60
on
or are we on lap 3 to
180?
go?
Yeah,
You know?
yeah. Right. That's gonna have a lot to do with it.
So,
But
obviously, you want to run up there in the top 5 all the time.
yeah,
Hands down. No matter if it's lap 1 or lap 199. You
Yeah.
know? So, I'm that guy that if the big one hasn't happened and we're halfway through the race, yeah, I mean, tires get wore out, and everything else. I'm gonna sit back here, boys. I'm gonna go up to that third line, the slow line, up, down, wherever the slow groove is at, and I'm gonna get sucked to the back for a little bit
hmm
and let that big one happen.
yeah,
And I'll catch you guys after the caution.
right.
You know what I mean?
I'll just cruise on by, see who all was in it, and keep on driving.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Because that's just it. When that big one happens, and anybody that's watched this race more than once can pick up on this. But when that big one happens, that big one, and it's not the big one because of the speeds they're going. It's the big one because of how wide the track is, how high the banks are. You know, it's when you've got a spotter in your ear, you can't turn your head left or right in them seats.
right.
You know, you can only look forward. And when you got 20 cars in front of you spinning, and that spotter's going, go low, go low, go low. As soon as those words leave his mouth, you need to be high. You know what I'm saying? Because them cars are spinning in front of you so fast, you can't predict where they're going to go. You
Right.
know, I mean, some cars get hit and get thrown into you.
Mhm.
There's your hands are tied, so I want to give my spotter as much time as possible to be able to tell me what to do.
True. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
I just wanted to ask that real quick. I thought of it and I was like, what would you do if you're in the car? And I know what I think I would do. I don't know if I actually would.
And those drivers out there, they probably have preferences. You know, I mean,
Oh yeah, I'm sure
Chase
they do.
Elliott and Kyle Larson probably opposite ends of the field on that. You know,
Mhm.
Denny Hamlin and Kyle Busch probably feel two different ways about that. You
Mhm.
know, I mean, it's just however they're comfortable in
Yeah.
a very uncomfortable situation.
Right.
So,
So this league, and for anybody out there that's not in this league, you can see what we're talking about at ridingthewall.com. We've got the standings updated.
and you can join next season.
Yeah, and we're gonna give you the option to join next season if you'd like to. We haven't talked a whole lot about that yet, but we're gonna get there. But these standings, as we say every week, Hunter is at the top, and now I've never met Hunter. I'm sure he's a good guy. You said he's a U of
Yeah.
L fan, so he's got to be a good guy.
He's a pretty decent guy.
Yeah, but he's at the lead, and he's had this lead for
Beginning of the
at
season.
least a month now. So, and he's just gapping
I
everybody.
mean, 31 points ahead of second place.
That's crazy. I'm getting tired of seeing Hunter at the top. Hunter, just if you're listening, you're not going to win this thing. I'm just going to throw that out there now. I'm making my bold prediction for the year. Hunter is not winning.
So you're not concerned about beating the 24 other people.
No.
You're just concerned about beating Hunter now.
It's right. Hunter is going down. It might take me to the very last week of the season, but I plan on passing Hunter. You only got to lead one lap, right?
Yep.
That's the way I'm looking at it. Now I know HR has told me he's going to take Hunter down before that.
Yeah, he's in fifth right now.
Yeah, he's climbing. He moved up 3 spots. He did pretty good. So HR Scotty, he's got Hunter in his sights. He don't look in the rear view very much. I know that.
But
And-
he is just 2 points ahead of Tony. I mean, so he's got Tony
Yeah,
Tony riding his ass right now.
Yeah, HR's right there in the sandwich. He's got Jerry. He's only 3 points behind Jerry, 2 points above Tony. So it could get interesting. Talladega is the track that's going to shake this whole thing up.
Oh, yeah.
You're putting the dice in the cup and just throwing them out there and see where they land.
And that's why I'm hoping to see. You know, we got 26 people in this group here. I'd love to see 26 different drivers taken. That'd be awesome.
Oh yeah, that would
you know
be
what
awesome. That makes it real interesting.
Yeah, you almost want to draw numbers for this race.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hey, nobody could pick the same driver. Meet up. We're taking this. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
And that would be just awesome because I mean that's really realistically that's what your chances are.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah, that's what it is.
So that'd make it pretty fun, and maybe one year we'll do that. If
We
can,
might have to do that one year.
You know.
Just go ahead and reserve it. Tell them at the start of the year. Talladega, we're just going to draw names.
Yep.
I do have to give a shout out to Earl. Or, hold on. Let's
Sonya.
I got to give a shout out to Sonya. Because Sonya is keeping Earl in line. Well, not only is she keeping him in line, because Earl's crazy. He's a wild man, right? I know you've
I've
never
met him. No.
I know you've never met Earl. I've known Earl for a long time. He's always been crazy.
The way
So
you
it
talk
takes a
about Sonya
special-
and Earl is like Sonya's Jeff Dunham and Earl's Peanut. You know,
Yes,
she's standing there,
basically.
you know.
Yeah, that's basically what it is. Sonya has got to be a gem to put up with Earl for as long as she has. Because wait till you meet Earl. You're gonna like Earl. He's a special individual, and Sonya has to be even more special of an individual to put up with him. But she is keeping him in line, and she picked Larson to win at Martinsville, and he did.
Well,
So-
you know what I like about Earl is he admits that.
Oh yeah,
You know
I'll
what I
tell
mean?
you real quick.
Yeah.
My wife picked it. It wasn't me.
Right.
Usually, if Earl's falling down, he picked it. And if he's going up, she picked it.
Right.
But she got him up 5
I'd
spots.
like. You know what I'd like to see? I'd like to see Sonya get in the league,
I would love to see.
and
Sonya
I'd like
get in
to
the
see
league.
Sonya and Earl manage their picks like you and Jess do. You know, you and Jess are in the league together, but you guys don't discuss picks.
No, we
you
do
guys
not.
do not.
I will not
share.
talk about my pick to her before
Right.
she turns it in. She has to turn her pick in before we discuss it.
Right, and that's cool. You know, I like that.
Yeah.
You got to have that competitiveness in the relationship as well.
Well,
But-
it hasn't gotten us anywhere because we're tied right now.
Well, I mean, just. Yeah, I mean, how many years you guys been together? I mean, you're going to pick the same driver
27.
sometimes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, from time to time it's going to happen. But I picked Byron, and I'm going to go ahead and tell you right now, anytime I pick Byron or Bowman, and me and Earl's talked about this because it happens the same thing for him. If I pick Byron or Bowman, I'm going to finish in the back. Thanks a lot, William Byron. You screwed me again.
Well, why didn't you take him at Talladega? I mean,
Well,
if your chances are...
I don't know.
That's what I'd do. I mean, but on the same note...
I try to use Talladega and Daytona as them guys that I don't never pick. You know, it saves me a good pick, and I'm still, for whatever reason, I don't know, I'm still looking at Byron and Bowman as a good pick. I don't know why, because I've never had good luck out of them. And H.R. Scotty, he just laughs at me because he gets wins with them.
Right, he does.
He gets wins with them, and I get...
But you see what happens to him when he picks Bell, too? I mean, he takes Christopher Bell and he gets punted off the track, you know? I mean,
Yeah.
he's still mad about that.
Oh, yeah.
But I
know he
don't
will.
blame him.
Well, you know, it's good for him.
Yeah,
it's
it
good for him. It
happens
keeps
to
the
the best
blood
of us.
circulating nice and, you know, it keeps the blood
Oh,
circulating.
yeah. I mean, you've got to have that reminder every once in a while that nobody's invincible.
You need that good kick to the nuts.
Yep.
Yeah. Which, that's coming for Hunter. He's never had that yet.
No, he hasn't. I remember last year he got a 19 and he thought he was falling apart. I mean,
Sometimes I wish I could get a 19, you know. There were, I think, 2 or 3 times last year where I've got over 100 points in 3 races. So I was like, Jesus.
yeah.
But, you know, I mean, we had the biggest mover was Earl, or Sonya at +5.
The other big mover was Chris. Down 4.
Yeah,
Yeah, you didn't specify which way.
Jeff moved down 5.
Oh, yeah.
Jeff,
yeah,
he
yes,
went
sir.
from 4th to 9th.
So, old Louis Turd went down 4.
Yeah.
But, you know, that's what makes it interesting. I think we're going to see these numbers are going to look a lot different Sunday
Next week.
night.
Oh, yeah. Talladega is definitely one that's going to just throw a knot in everything.
But I hope the people listen to this enjoy Talladega as much as we do.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know what I'm saying? If you don't like Talladega, that's fine too. There's just something wrong with you.
Yeah.
Go on Dr. Phil and talk about it.
And I'm going to go ahead and give another shout out to Lou, Mom. She's up 1 spot. Now I know up 1 spot's not a big deal to a
Turtle
lot
won
of
the
people,
race.
but she's moving in the right direction.
Absolutely.
You know, she was at the very bottom. Now she's 20th out of 26th. And I'm going to tell you guys that are in this league,
She's a sleeper.
you don't want to count Lou out, because she will, if you just ignore that, if you ignore where she's at, here in 2 weeks, she's going to be flirting with the top 10.
Yep.
I mean, she's done it before. I've seen it. So it can, and it probably will happen. So, I know who Jess picked. Me and Jess are tied at 135. Me, Jess, and Brian are in a three-way tie for 135.
You gotta watch getting in a three-way with Brian.
I know, it's very dangerous.
I'm serious.
You got to keep your eye on that guy at all times.
Well, I mean, he likes to. That's his problem. He likes to make eye contact.
He does, and he will not break it. He will not break that eye contact. He'll smile while he's
weird. I mean,
well, me, her, and him are in a three-way.
Handshake.
Exactly. For 15th. We're 1 point away from Riggs. So, but then after that, we got almost 20 points before we get to Little D.
Yeah.
So, we might be hovering around 14th, 15th spot for a week or two.
I'm gonna go ahead and make this prediction. This is pretty bold at Talladega.
I like to hear bold predictions.
I'm gonna go from 12th. I'm gonna go from 12th to 7th.
That's a 13-point difference.
You watch.
You think so? Well, I mean, you got a good pick to do it.
Yeah, I do. Blaney ain't gonna let me down. Me and him hung out the other night.
Yeah?
Yeah. And
did he tell you? Okay, go ahead.
well, I mean, they don't just put that car. You know what I'm saying? They don't just put that car together for Talladega.
Right.
They've had this car in the garage for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
He's been running this car. He's freaking fast. And I'm going from 12th to 7th.
Uh-oh. I think he's the odds-on favorite to win this race at the moment.
Is he?
It is, yeah. Last time I seen,
Well,
but it's still only Wednesday.
I mean,
so.
Well, I mean, you came by the other night when Blaney swung over. You know, we sit on the back porch drinking a few beers, and he gave me his word. He said, "I'll take you 5 spots minimum."
Really?
Yeah.
That's
so.
That's bold. We're gonna see if it happens.
Yeah. Well, and if it don't, then me and him will have another talk.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That could happen too. You never know.
He knows my background.
Yeah.
I'm not threatening you, Ryan, but
but you better do good.
But you better get me 5 spots, brother.
Right. But
So,
that's really all I have to talk about as far as the league. You got anything else with this league?
I don't. It's been fun so far. It's been interesting. Nobody's hit the 200-point mark yet, so
Not
that's
yet.
a positive.
Not yet.
Paul, he's been flirting with it for about the last 5 races.
Yeah.
But you know,
he's not in the basement no more, so he's doing
right.
pretty good.
He was heading up the right direction. But you know, one thing I will say is Joey in our league, he's in 25th right now. But I will say, that don't bother me. He's in 25th. I like Joey. He's a good dude. But the big reason he's down there is because he took Johnny Davenport at Bristol Dirt. And I love that pick. I appreciate the ballsiness that Joey took right there.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
I appreciate that.
So, I mean, a lot of people could give you a hard time for being in 25th out of 26, but he ate 33 points, I think, on a good pick. On a ballsy pick, and I appreciate that. I mean, that's what makes that's what makes it fun.
Mm-hmm. I like them picks that nobody thinks of. You know. But
so.
Well,
let's wrap it up. We gotta get to Brownstown.
Let's wrap it up. We're getting ready to head to Brownstown. If you want to get in this league, think about it. Hit us up at ridingthewall.com. We'll get you in this league for next year.
Absolutely, and it's not expensive. It's a lot of fun. It's all handled 100% legit, 100% payout. Nobody keeps anything.
Right. And it's just a good time.
It is. It's more about the shit talking and the ball busting and stuff like that than it is anything.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's a lot of fun. So if you're looking to get into it, think about it. Give us a
get a hold of our HR, Scotty, if you'd be interested in it. We'll have him reply back to you.
Yeah. That could be dangerous.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
it'd be fun.
Oh yeah, it'd definitely be fun.
Yeah.
But that's all we got for this week's show. Again, thank you for listening. We really appreciate everybody that's out there, all the feedback that we've been given.
Absolutely.
And
tell your friends and family.
That's right. Tell your friends, family, everybody.
Absolutely. Just
And
like I always say.
we're gonna get out of here and head to Brownstown and see if Kyle Larson can win one on the short track dirt.
I like to see if the Wooster Warrior shows up and challenges him face to face.
That'd be cool. But we'll see you guys next week. We'll talk about Dega. Look forward to Dover after that, and let's see what this week brings.
See what kind of penalties we have to talk about next week.
Hopefully none. Hopefully we just have a good race to talk about. But we'll see you guys next week, and have a good week at the races wherever you're going. Enjoy it, and we'll see you next week.
Right in the face.